mynews.studio.
Picture this. In Brazil, an older woman sits at her kitchen table counting her pension notes. Meanwhile, in Indonesian villages, more families are eating regular meals. Fewer are skipping them. So why are poverty rates dropping so quickly in these places? And could these models work elsewhere?
Today is October 29th, 2025. Let's start with the data. Across Latin America, the Caribbean, and Indonesia, poverty rates have hit historic lows in the last 2 years. What's behind these numbers?
Take Brazil as an example. Since 2019, their pension reform really made a difference. They introduced a minimum retirement age and changed how long people need to contribute. But the most important part, the Constitution now guarantees that no pension can be less than the minimum wage.
So that helps people who worked informally or didn't have steady jobs, right?
Exactly. That safety net means even those with low contributions get enough to stay above the poverty line. There's also the Beneficio de Prestação Continuada, a non-contributory pension for elderly people in poverty. For every recipient, about 2.5 family members benefit indirectly. It sets off a ripple effect.
So it multiplies the impact, not just for one person, but for their family too. Besides pensions, what else helped reduce poverty?
Targeted cash transfers were crucial. Brazil also expanded healthcare and improved the labor market. All these factors combined to bring elderly poverty to some of the lowest levels in Latin America.
Let's switch to Indonesia. In July 2024, their poverty rate dropped to 9%. By September, it was down to 8.57%. What made that possible?
Several things contributed. Strong economic growth laid the foundation. But the standout was their approach to social assistance. Indonesia scaled up large cash transfer programs and food subsidies, especially during times of food inflation or other shocks.
Did those programs reach both cities and rural villages?
Yes, and that's what stands out. Rural communities got non-contributory pensions and support for agriculture. Urban areas saw more jobs and better social insurance. The government also adjusted poverty lines regionally and did frequent household surveys to make sure assistance went where it was needed.
And keeping inflation under control must have been important too?
Absolutely. The government prioritized stable inflation and worked to raise people's purchasing power. Both are key for reducing poverty.
So both Brazil and Indonesia used targeted policies, but adjusted them for their own situations. The big question, can other countries do the same?
Not copy, but adapt. Each country has unique demographics, economies, and politics. Policymakers have to look at what they can afford, how well their systems work, and whether people will support these policies.
And programs need to stay flexible, right? They have to adjust to shocks or demographic changes. Is there a risk if countries try to implement these policies without the right groundwork?
Yes, there's risk. Without strong administration or enough funding, these programs can struggle. Still, the main lesson is that targeted interventions, minimum income guarantees, and responsive social assistance can have a big impact, if they're designed carefully.
These cases are hopeful, but they show that context really matters. As more countries try to meet the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, do you think we'll see more versions of these programs, adapted to local needs?
I do. The global takeaway is that sharp declines in poverty are possible with the right mix of policies, even in very different settings. But success depends on adapting, not just copying what works elsewhere.
That sums it up well. Brazil and Indonesia used different tools, but both made real progress in reducing poverty.
If these lessons are shared and adapted, millions more could see the benefits.
Thanks for joining us as we explored the numbers, policies, and lessons behind these record drops in poverty. Can these strategies shape the future everywhere? Only time and careful adaptation will show.
Thank you for listening. This episode was brought to you by mynews.studio. Try it now for free.